Spiritual Partnership: The Journey to Authentic Power by Gary Zukav. Introduction. Relationships. A new type of relationship is emerging in the human experience. It is replacing all other forms of relationship, and this is good news. Previous types of relationships were designed for a human species that is dying. A new human species is being born, and we are part of it. It has its own requirements for relationships, its own values, and its own goals. Its potential is greater than the potential of the species that is disappearing, and its ability to contribute constructively to the human experience is far greater. Millions of individuals are part of this new species, and millions more are becoming part of it. It expands daily because babies with new capabilities are born daily, and also because millions of individuals are becoming aware of these same capabilities within themselves. You are one of those individuals, or you would not be drawn to this book. Spiritual would be a concept to you, or a religion, or a belief system. You would think of spirituality in religious, poetic, or philosophical terms, or imagine it in terms of heavens, ascending to higher levels of experience, or being condemned to lower levels of experience. You would put a cross, a statue of the Buddha, an image of Krishna, a crystal, or a painting of radiant inspiration on your altar or mantle. You would recite mantras or prayers, chant or sing hymns, and take comfort in the companionship of colleagues who have discovered the same truth as you. The new type of human relationship separates spiritual and religious. Spirituality is not a matter of conforming to tradition, complying with commandments, implementing instructions, or accepting the authority of others. It also does not have to do with buildings, ways of dressing, scriptures, and holy writings, although it does have to do with appreciating the holy in everything and striving to live accordingly. Last, spirituality does not have to do with judgment of others or yourself, but with discovering within yourself and transforming within yourself the interior causes of your painful experiences and destructive behaviors, and discovering within yourself and cultivating within yourself the interior causes of your joyful experience and constructive behaviors. The new type of relationship, the new understanding of spirituality, and the new human species are being born together, and they are designed for one another. The distinction between spirituality and religion is not apparent to the old human being, but it is becoming obvious to millions of individuals. Nevertheless, some confusion remains, not only because the transformation from old humanity to the new humanity is in progress and not yet complete, but also because many people who are religious are also spiritual, and the other way around. Many people who are spiritual are also religious. This is a time of great transition. When the old is falling away, the new is emerging, and for several generations the two will overlap as the influence of the old humanity and its values and goals wane, and the influence of the new humanity with its different values and goals increase. This process is irreversible, so attachments to the old humanity and its goals have no usefulness, and on the contrary, can create only painful experiences and consequences. How anguishing would it be to grieve the rising of the sun each morning, or the tide coming in or going out? What could that accomplish other than personal misery? The biggest occurrence in human history outside of the origin of humanity is underway, and we are part of it whether we accept it or reject it, welcome it or push it away, embrace it or resist it. A new human relationship dynamic is integral to that occurrence, and therefore we can also accept or reject it, welcome or spurn it. But we cannot ignore it without consequences. Relationships are the most difficult human endeavors, and now that the nature of human relationships is changing, they are becoming even more difficult for those who ignore the change. There are as many different relationships of the old type as there are of shared goals. Business relationships are different from romantic relationships, which are different from relationships between classmates, relationships between neighbors, and relationships between parents and children. The relationship between you and your mechanic is different from the relationship between your physician and his office manager, although that relationship is more like your relationship with your accountant or mechanic. Property owners have relationships with renters, Employees have relationships with coworkers and employers, and teachers have relationships with students. The individuals within these relationships work to accomplish a shared goal. The relationship allows the individuals involved to accomplish goals that they could not accomplish by themselves. For example, election campaigns, corporations, and barn raisings are all products of this type of relationship. Some relationships are so impersonal that the connection between individuals within them is irrelevant, such as the relationship between a policeman directing traffic and the drivers he directs. Yet the participants together create what none can accomplish alone, a smooth flow of traffic. Some are mostly impersonal, yet allow for mutual appreciation, such as a relationship between you and a clerk. In others, the connection between individuals becomes much more important, such as your relationship with your in-laws, although those relationships may or may not be intimate or substantive. The goal of raising a healthy family or living together in mutually supportive ways requires much more focus on the connection between the individuals involved, because if that connection is missing or superficial, the goal cannot be attained. Board members can despise one another, which happens frequently. Employees can compete with one another, which is common, and the political allies can exploit one another, which they usually do, and still accomplish their shared goals. These relationships are difficult and painful, but they are functional. In fact, most relationships fall into this category. Countless marriages and domestic partnerships are painfully difficult, yet the individuals involved remain in them because they provide a sense of safety or at least familiarity that each partner fears losing, and in this way the partners accomplish a shared goal. Relationships in which partners focus on creating positive connections between themselves as well as on accomplishing their shared goal are the most challenging. The function of all old-type relationships, from those in which connection between the participants is negligible to those in which it is central, is to manipulate or control circumstances, including other people, to attain a goal that the participants share. In other words, to change the external world. For example, to elect a mayor, organize a movement, or build a business. This type of relationship enables parties to buy a house together, have children, raise a family, keep each other from loneliness, or satisfy their emotional, psychological, physical, or sexual needs with each other. Their shared goal is always the reason for their relationship. When the goal is accomplished or they fail to accomplish it, the relationship breaks apart. For example, an election campaign ends when an opponent wins and the campaigners separate. A business fails and the partners go their separate ways, or it succeeds and they sell the business and go their separate ways. There are countless variations of this theme. A marriage partner realizes that her spouse cannot or is not willing to satisfy her psychological, physical, or emotional needs and divorces. An individual becomes a vegetarian, is born again, begins to meditate or adopts another religion, and no longer seeks or accepts relationships with individuals who have not similarly changed. Any transition that makes an individual different in belief or appearance, or that creates a difference of values or goals, will end in an old-type relationship because the shared goal that underlies it is no longer there. Whether the shared goal is the security of sameness, such as skin color, belief, or language, or increased market share, a new board of supervisors, or a happy family, it is the reason for the relationship and the glue that holds it together. Without the shared goal, the relationship ceases to have meaning, mutual attraction among the participants diminishes, and the relationship disintegrates or is replaced with others that are more relevant. Whatever the goal is, it determines who will be attractive as a potential partner and who will not, who will be welcome and who will be pushed away. Homogeneity is accepted, diversity rejected. If the shared goal is acceptance, individuals who do not speak, dress, act, or believe in the way that the relationship requires are not eligible for membership. An individual who wants a partner to support a future family will not consider someone who is unemployable or refuses to work. The director of a play will not consider individuals who cannot act. A business owner who needs a marketing director will not consider individuals who do not have the ability or aptitude, and so on. The shared goal determines the participants in the relationship, and these participants are replaceable. One carpenter can be replaced with another. One campaign manager can be replaced with another. One volunteer can be replaced with another. And as many individuals have discovered, one spouse can be replaced with another. Relationships of this type are familiar because we see them everywhere and experience them continually. They serve the survival of the human species that is dying out, but they cannot support us now because the new species has perceptions and values that are very different from those of the old species. As more and more of us experience the new perceptions and values of the new human species, we begin to see ourselves and one another differently, our world differently, and the purpose of our lives differently. One reason for being together changes, and therefore the type of relationship that we create with one another changes. Old type relationships are the means by which our species survived and expanded to cover the earth. However, they prevent spiritual growth. This is significant because we now evolve by growing spiritually. Spiritual growth is as necessary for us as sunshine is for a plant. We seek partners with whom we can grow spiritually rather than with whom we can accomplish common goals. Survival is not our only objective or sufficient for us. We long for more and we strive for fulfillment. We are redefining spirituality, relationship, and evolution. The old humanity, evolution through survival, relationships designed to change circumstances, and religions are woven of the same fabric. They emerge together, and they are being replaced together by another fabric through which is woven the new humanity, evolution through spiritual growth, relationships designed for spiritual growth, and spirituality. The old fabric is unraveling. The new fabric is ready out of the loom and becoming visible to more and more individuals. Spirituality has to do with the soul and requires alignment with the most noble impulses of the human experience: harmony, cooperation, sharing, and reverence for life. This goal cannot be brought into being for one person by another, or even by a collective of others. The spiritual development of an individual is not a barn raising made possible by helpful neighbors. Each individual is responsible for his or her own spiritual growth. Spirituality is a journey into self-awareness and self-responsibility. The old type of relationship helped the old humanity survive by focusing on attention of participants outward onto circumstances and people in order to change them. The new type of relationship enables us to grow spiritually by focusing our attention inward onto the interior causes of our painful experiences and destructive actions in order to change them, and onto the interior causes of our blissful experiences and constructive actions in order to cultivate them. Old humans in search of spiritual growth escape the distractions of circumstances and people by retreating into monasteries and nunneries, and from there becoming hermits. The solitary meditator in a cell or cave became the icon of commitment to spiritual growth, expansion beyond the limitations of the five senses and the confines of culture and custom into the freedom of a life unbounded by fear. With the emergence of the new humanity, isolation has become counterproductive. It prevents the very interactions that are necessary for our spiritual development. Before, few individuals were interested in growing spiritually, and every relationship formed around a common goal. Now, millions of us are attracted to harmony, cooperation, sharing, and reverence for life. Within a few generations, all humans will strive for spiritual growth, and we are already creating relationships that are quite different from the old type in order to support our spiritual development. Relationships were necessary to the evolution of the old species, and they are equally necessary to our evolution, but for significantly different reasons. Relationships help the old species survive. They help us grow spiritually. As the values and perceptions of the new species emerge in millions of humans, relationships of the old type are becoming increasingly unsatisfactory. We are becoming increasingly interested in self-exploration, self-awareness, and self-mastery. Fulfillment, contentment, meaning, purpose, love, and the joy of contributing to life are taking precedence over issues such as career, lifestyle, and money. We are finding it less and less satisfying to blame others for our painful experiences, no matter how much we still want to, than to discover within ourselves the cause of our painful experiences and change them. We are beginning to recognize the importance of our emotions and intentions, of what we do, of what we say, and why. We are looking for connections between our choices and our experiences so that we can change our choices and therefore change our experiences. We are striving to be the kind of person we want others to be rather than to change others. and we are transforming our relationships at home, at work, and at play into relationships of the new type. The terrain of human interaction is changing dramatically. Old type relationships have no future, while relationships of the new type are appearing everywhere and in surprising ways. The scale of this change in the function, nature, and experience of relationship is enormous, but the reason behind it is even larger.